What about 6:30? What about ending at 6:30? Aren't you going to miss these evening council meetings? Oh, that's true.
You can always just come back to
Please no warehouses.
a fun Monday night.
But you know how we feel about warehouses. You know how we feel about warehouses. It would be so funny if you came here to present a warehouse. We do. Oh. And Patrice is going to the the dark side.
She's probably going to make more money than we're ever going to make. Oh. Okay. Ready? We'll call to order the City of Douglasville City Council Committee meeting for a regular meeting for tonight, which is August the 16th. We do have our public hearing number 2 for our millage rate as well, but we'll have our invocation first that will be done by the Reverend Brian Berryhill of Heritage Baptist Church, and after that, our Pledge of Allegiance will be led by the Mayor Pro Tem Terry Miller. Please stand for the invocation. Thank you so much, Mayor Pro Tem and Reverend Berryhill. We appreciate you coming this evening and extending the invocation for us. So we'll move on now to announcements and presentations, and I'll go over the protocol for the meeting, and then we'll get into the agenda as it's printed. There are printed agendas outside on the desk, or we have the copy on the screen above. I'd like to welcome you to the City of Douglasville's regular voting meeting. My name is Rochelle Robinson. I'm Mayor of the City of Douglasville. This is a City Council regular meeting of agenda items where official action will be taken tonight based on the discussions that we had last Thursday at our work session. If the business you're here for is not listed as an agenda item, there will be ample time under the agenda item comments from Citizens and Delegates section for you to discuss your business. Just a few protocol issues, and then we'll get into how the agenda will be handled, and then we'll move on with the agenda as presented. I ask that you would please keep your comments and presentations on a professional level dealing with the facts that are important for this governing body to make our decisions. We will not accept comments that are considered by the chair to be of a personal attack on any individual or group of individuals. You'll receive a warning from the chair, and if you deviate from this requirement, a second deviation will result in a request for you to not continue to speak on that item. Only one person speaking at a time. Please do not applaud or react to speakers or speak from the audience, cheer, or carry on a conversation with others in the audience as you are presenting. I'll remind you that we are only required to accept public comments on zoning matters unless you come at the end of the meeting to give us concerns that you have. If you have a cell phone or electronic device, we'll ask that you would please put those in silent mode so they will not be disruptive during the meeting. The agenda items will be handled as the following. The committee chairperson will read the agenda item, then that person representing that agenda item or applicant will make his or her presentation, then myself and council members will possibly ask any additional questions that we did not have last Thursday. After that, the committee chairperson will ask for comments or statements from the audience. If it's a public hearing, there is a maximum of 20 minutes, 20 minutes for those in favor, 20 minutes for those in opposition, and each person has 5 minutes to speak. Prior to approaching the podium, we ask that you would please fill out a card of information, and it should obtain your name and address, and you'll give that to our city clerk, Ms. Vicki Acker, to my right. And when you come to the podium, please give us your name and address for the record. Each person has one opportunity to speak. This is not a question and answer format or a debate. We're just here to hear your information and make a determination after we deliberate on that information. Please address all of your comments to the chair. If your information is repetitive, we ask that you will not present again, as we've heard it last Thursday. And if you have printed material, please give that printed material to our city clerk. She will make copies and distribute it to the council members and myself. That's all of the announcements that we have and protocol and how the meeting will run tonight. I do have minutes from city manager. Are we going to do the millage rate hearing after?
No, ma'am. Since we're in a public meeting, we'll do a public hearing inside this meeting as we do with zoning cases. So when you get to that item, you will see it.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, that was a little bit confusing for me. I apologize.
No problem.
Okay. We have the minutes of the legislative work session and executive sessions of July 29th, 2021, and the regular meeting and executive sessions of August 2nd, 2021. I open the floor for a motion to approve the minutes as presented.
So moved.
Thank you so much. Ms. Acker, did you get one of the council members? Councilman Adams? Okay, I have a motion. Is there a second, please? Second. Thank you. It's been properly moved in second to approve item 21-140. Do we have any corrections or comments as it relates to the minutes as presented from council members? I don't see any. All those in favor of approving the minutes as presented, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The minutes are approved unanimously. We'll move on then to the consent agenda. Open the floor for a motion to approve the consent agenda.
So moved.
Thank you so much, Councilman Adams. We have a motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you so much, Councilman Estes. It's been properly moved in second to approve the consent agenda as presented. Do we have any questions, comments, any further deliberation from council members as relates to the consent agenda? Thank you. I don't see any. All those in favor of approving the consent agenda, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The consent agenda is unanimously approved. Now we'll move on to committees. We have the Economic Development Committee, that's chaired by Councilmember Mayor Pro Tem Terry Miller.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. We have no business at this time under the Economic Development Committee.
Thank you so much, Mr. Mayor Pro Tem. Finance Committee is chaired by Councilmember Mark Adams.
Thank you, Madam Mayor.
You're
Finance
welcome.
has one item tonight, and that's the item that you were speaking of. Hold a public hearing to consider the proposed 2021-2022 ad valorem tax millage rate for maintenance and operations. Ms. Karen Callen and her staff have worked on this and have a presentation for us. This is the second meeting. We had one this morning at 11 o'clock, and Ms. Callen will bring that information to us now. Thank you, Ms. Callen.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Chairman. Good evening. Welcome to the second public hearing of our 3 required public hearings for calendar year 2021 millage rate. I have a very brief presentation, and then since this is a public hearing, as soon as we're done with the presentation, then we'll invite public comment. The first thing that we wanted to point out is that your millage rate or your tax bill is comprised of 2 different components. One is your bond millage rate, and that pays the debt service on the public administration building. The other is maintenance and operations. We call that M&O, and that funds the general fund main operations. But those 2 components make up your total tax rate. Your total millage rate is 8.111 for the maintenance and operations plus your bond millage. Your total rate is going down 2%, and that is due to the bond millage rate. As our tax digest increases, it takes less of a rate to yield the revenue needed to pay the debt service payment. The maintenance and operations rate, we are proposing to keep it at 7.211, and that is the same rate that we've had for the past 3 years. The bond millage rate, as I mentioned before, as your tax digest goes up, your bond millage rate goes down, and that will be going down 15.73%. Why is it advertised as a tax increase? We do have the state law that states that if you don't adopt the rollback rate, that you must advertise for a tax increase and have 3 public hearings. Again, this is the second of the 3rd public hearing. What this means to you is that if you have, your house was valued at $200,000 last year, and this year it is valued at $210,000, with the same rate, you'll be paying more taxes. So that's $28.84 annually on this example. And monthly, that's about $2.40. Some people's appraised value has decreased. And in the same example, you would pay $28.84 less than you would this year. So that's why we have to advertise it as a tax increase. Your property value goes up, but the millage rate stays the same. That's just for the maintenance and operations piece of the tax rate. The bond millage rate will cause your tax burden to go down. So if your property values stay the same as it was last year, you'll be paying less taxes. The state requirements, again, requires us to have 3 public hearings. We had one this morning at 11 o'clock. This is the second public hearing. Thursday, September 2nd at 5:30, and then the final adoption at 5:45 at a special call meeting. Also, the state requirements require certain advertising. We have a 5-year history and levy that was advertised in the paper on the Sentinel on August 7th. We issued a press release also to the Sentinel. It was ran August 6th. We posted our press release to the city's website. We advertised our public hearings in the paper August 7th, and then our second required ad will run August 17th. One of the reasons, or a few reasons why we are not rolling back the millage rate are, increased cost of labor and cost of services to the city. The SPLOST election is in November of 2022, and we're looking at the needs to fund our future capital needs. Local option sales tax negotiations start in July of 2022. That can mean a lower percentage for the city on the 1-cent sales tax. Service delivery negotiations for fire services agreement, animal control, start in 2024. We also will be finishing an amphitheater in the next 2 years, and we'll have increased operations cost for those. And at this time, if you have any public comments, we'll be welcome.
Thank you, Ms. Callen. Again, as Ms. Callen has mentioned, this being a public hearing, we need to give the opportunity to anyone that would like to speak either for or against this item, just for public comment. We'd welcome you to come to the podium and give us your name and address for the record, and we would love to hear from you. Anyone that would like to speak concerning this millage rate public hearing, please come forward. Seeing none, then, we will close this portion of our meeting. And Madam Mayor, we would then, as I've been reminded, we would then vote upon this on Thursday the 2nd at 5:45. And I appreciate the time. That's all that we have, Madam Mayor. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you so much, Mr. Chairman. And I must apologize. I missed the 11 o'clock public hearing. I was moving my daughter into campus at Kennesaw. Although it's her 3rd year, I still have to take her, and I thought I would be back in time, but I didn't make it. So I apologize for not making it to the earlier meeting. Okay, so we'll move on to Housing and Community Affairs Committee. That's chaired by Councilmember Dr. LaShawn Burdanley.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. We have no business under Housing and Community Affairs tonight.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
You're welcome.
Move into the next committee, which is Legislative and Intergovernmental Committee. That's chaired by Councilmember Samuel Davis.
Yes, ma'am, we have a refresh.
Uh-huh.
And I'm going to
I
go
see
to
it.
item A. Did you refresh, Madam
Yes,
Mayor?
sir. I see it. You have
Okay.
one.
Item A, authorize the payment of expense for the registration costs and reasonable travel expense for Councilwoman Nicole Miller and Councilman Howard Estes to attend 2021 Annual Conference for the National League of Cities in the amount consists with those established in the administration ordinance for pre-approved training events. Ms. Hampton, please.
I was notified tonight by your 2 colleagues that they would be interested in potentially traveling, so in order to start that process, we do need your approval.
Okay, good. Any other council members? If not, Madam Mayor, I'd like to make a motion we approve -21-427.
Mr. Chairman, could I speak, please?
Yes, I'm sorry.
I'm not in agreement with refreshing an agenda at the beginning of a meeting and having a voting item, which is basically, it would appear to me, is going to have a quorum of the council traveling to, where is it this year, Salt Lake City?
Yes, sir.
I have a problem with that, and I just wanted to state my feelings about it. I know that when we began having our representative, whether it be our mayor or someone attend in her or his stead, we were speaking of sending one person for that purpose and then reporting back each time after that meeting to the full council concerning what they may have learned that may have been benefit to our community here in the city. And now that seems to have grown to 4 or 5 individuals. I just wanted to state my opposition to that publicly. Thank you.
Anyone else?
I have a question. Are they traveling during the time that we have a council meeting?
I'm not certain of the dates. I can verify.
And I think, not speaking for anyone else, but Councilman Adams, I believe, because we have become members of the National Leagues of Cities as a city, and the president, incoming president, is going to be from Georgia, from Union City Mayor Vince Williams. And the whole process of resources given to cities across the country from the Rescue Act and CARES Act spurred more interest. And there are other cities that send their councils. It's kind of like GMA, but not on a state level, but a national level. But of course, I understand where you're coming from. Initially, it was just myself, and/or if I couldn't attend, then the last time Mayor Pro Tem went for me. But Councilman Davis has been going years before I even became mayor to attend. Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Ms. Daly, Madam Mayor, does not conflict with a council meeting.
Okay, it does not?
Is your concern because the quorum?
No, the quorum is not my concern. The number of people just in general, when I agreed and when we had discussion and votes after discussion on an item concerning this, we agreed that we would have it in the mayor's budget to send someone. And now it appears that that budget, for some reason, is growing to where there seems to be the need for more and more people to travel on a national level. And I'll be quite frank, I've not really heard any reports from those national meetings since we have been sending a representative that there is anything of any substance coming back to help our city. That's just my opinion.
Yeah, I'd like to just make a notation that I think Councilman Miller, Davis, and myself traveled to the National League of Cities once before. I know Councilman Davis and I went to North Carolina. I have not been able to attend because of the timing, because of the school system's calendar. We're off the week of November, Thanksgiving, and so for me to be gone twice back-to-back, that just wasn't appropriate for me. But I would say that I would be traveling if there was an opportunity. So I understand what you're saying. I just thought, I want to make sure that we don't have to repeat this again if we're not all understanding. Because we've traveled before, 3 people, there just haven't been 4, but I'm fine with, because there's a lot that goes on. The National League of Cities, and I want to say the last report I remember too, is we were talking about the mayor actually wanted to implement a youth council. Hopefully you'll still be able to do that, because other states are doing it and they're really doing great. So when you all go, please bring back information on that.
Right.
That's all I have.
And the
comments on.
other part of finance, because I know the finance chair, is that, and this is just for general information for the citizens as well, is that it's within that council member's budget, because we didn't use a lot of their training budget for 2020. It was still within their purview to use that resource. Is that correct, City Manager? Can explain it better than articulate it better than I.
Well, you all have a pot of money, and what we just allow is for you to decide to use it as you see fit, as the training that you need. So there may be certain things. I know some of you participate in municipal institutes, some of you don't. So some of you sometimes in the year with funds available, some of you sometimes not. So we leave it at your discretion, and we try to give you an accounting balance of what you have remaining. I do believe that with this trip, for those who are going, inclusive of what's on the horizon, you should be able to manage all of those educational opportunities for the fiscal year.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yes, Terry. Councilman
And
Miller?
I just want to point out for the record, to your point, Councilman Adams, I know that much of what I say is not very memorable, but I did deliver a report for the one National League of Cities conference that I did attend. Like I
Right.
said, not everything I say is terribly memorable.
I do seem to recall that, Mr. Miller.
Right.
I just think if there's a deadline that we need to meet in order to get you all lined up for this, and there's a reason that we are discussing it here momentarily and then taking a vote with it having been refreshed on an agenda that we've not seen, okay, then I'd like to hear that as the reason. If there's not a deadline, then why can we not do it as we do anything else as far as having discussion and then further discussion and then vote? That's one of my concerns. I've already voiced my other.
Is it an issue with the time frame with the agenda?
There's an increase in a rate, but if you all want to postpone until, we can do that as well.
No, I think, Madam Mayor, we need to go ahead on because of the time and the space.
Mr. Chairman, you have another concern, Councilmember Miller, and
No, I was just going to say, I was under the impression that this was within the realm of my budget, because I most certainly don't want to start taking money outside of that budget and going over it. I know as being one, I've not been to a conference of the NLC before. I've heard some good stuff about it. I honestly look forward to meeting fellow council members from other communities and finding out what they're doing and some of their issues. But if it is a issue to have multiples of us going, I don't have to go. It's
within your budget.
It is.
And I know that you guys said that there would be a increase in price if we don't go ahead and lock in that rate, but we can put it off still to the next round of meetings if that would be better as well.
It's your choice, your decision, Mr. Chairman.
Well, my decision is go ahead and make a motion to approve. Those that want to go, city clerk, get it going.
Okay, so you have a motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, it's been properly moved in second to approve item 21-427. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Opposed, nay.
Opposed?
Okay, the ayes have it. 21-427 27 is approved.
That's all I have, Madam Mayor. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you so much, Mr. Chairman. We'll move on then to item number 11, which is Personnel and Organization Committee. And, excuse me, the vice chair is, Councilmember Miller in.
Thank you, ma'am. Yes, we have no business this evening in personnel and organization.
Thank you so much, Madam Vice Chair. We'll move on then to item number 12, which is Planning and Development Committee. That's chaired by Councilmember Mark Adams.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. We have
welcome.
one item tonight, and again, it's a public hearing. Hold a public hearing and consider a request for a proposed ordinance to amend Section 7.09, Table 2 of the Unified Development Ordinance to allow additional canopy signs or projecting signs in a historic district. Application by the City of Douglasville. Mr. Ryan Anderson is going to help us with that item. How are you, sir?
How are you doing, Councilmember Adams?
Good,
evening,
thank you.
Council, Mayor. My name is Ryan Anderson, 6701 Church Street. We do not have any new information in regard as it relates to this item.
Thank you, sir. Just to bring everyone up to speed, we did have some requests from some existing businesses on Veterans Memorial that had made mention of the need for a sign on their building. Some signs, some businesses, if they had a sign frame on the front of the building, were allowed to have a sign. If they did not have one, if it had been removed, whatever had happened, they were not allowed to. We're trying to, I guess you'd say, standardize this a little better and make it possible for those businesses in an attempt to help their business in general to have those signs overall. And so that is the reason for our public hearing, and I appreciate Mr. Anderson bringing it forward. It being a public hearing, we need to give opportunity to anyone that would like to speak either for or against this item with your public comments. Is there anyone here that would like to do that? Do we have any comments from council or Madam Mayor concerning the item? Okay, then we will close that public hearing, and seeing no one that wanted to speak on it, I would make a motion that we approve item 21-365.
Thank you so much, Mr. Chairman. We have a motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you so much, Mayor Pro Tem. It's been properly moved by the Chair, Councilman Adams, and second by Mayor Pro Tem Miller to approve item 21-365. Do we have any comments or questions from the council? I don't see any. All those in favor of approving this item, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. 21-365 is unanimously approved.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. That's all that we have.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Ms. Anderson. We'll move on then to item 13, which is Public Improvement and Beautification Committee. That's chaired by Councilmember Nicole Miller.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. We have no business this evening.
Thank you, ma'am. We'll move on to Public Relations Committee, chaired by Councilmember Howard Estes.
No business this evening. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
You're welcome. Public Safety Committee, chaired by Councilmember Samuel Davis.
Yes, Madam Mayor, I have a couple items. First, item
Yes,
A, adopt an ordinance to amend the city alcoholic beverage ordinance to allow malt beverage and spirit manufacturers that are allowed to pour alcoholic beverage produced in their licensed premises in the tap room or cocktail room to also make package sale of those products. Mr. Airy.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Aaron Sarowitz, 6701 Church Street. So the proposed ordinance, the proposed ordinance amendment makes some updates to definitions, but mostly will allow manufacturers to sell what they manufacture by the package. And there was a question at last Thursday's meeting about maximums. So we'll be adopting what the state of Georgia kind of sets forth as the maximums for distilled spirits. It's approximately 12-ounce containers, and for malt beverages, beer and the like, 24 12-ounce containers. So the maximum you'd be able to take, I guess, is 24 and 12, depending on what the item is.
Okay. Any questions? Madam Mayor, if there's no question, I'd like to make a motion to approve 21-407.
Thank you so much. I have a motion to approve from the chair. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you so much, Councilman Estes. This one properly moved and second, moved by the chair, Councilman Davis, and second by Councilman Estes to approve item 21-407. Do we have any additional comments or questions as it relates to this item? Thank you. I don't see any. All those in favor of approving, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. 21-407 is unanimously approved. Thank you, Mr. Sarowitz.
Thank you, Mr. Aaron. Moving on to item B. Wait till the clear,
It's
till the
fine.
screen clear. Okay, consider a request for the alcoholic beverage license for the wholesale malt beverage distributor and the malt beverage manufacturer license at the following establishment. Proposed license, Quash Seltzer LLC, DBA MIXX, location 7705 Staple Drive. Proposed agent outlet manager Robert Miller. Crop fees have been paid into the finance department. Mr. Miller, how are you today?
Great, how are you? Thank you.
I am just fine, Mr. Miller. Are any of the councils have any questions for Mr. Miller? I've learned something other week. The city manager told me there is distribution like Budweiser. So she said I couldn't go there and get no 4-pack or 6-pack. So if we have any questions from the council, she straightened me out last week.
No questions. We did get a letter from the former Mayor Pro Tem Siegel, who sent some information. He had some experience in this field, so he sent us a informative letter, which we appreciate that. Thank you.
Anyone else? Okay, if not, I'd like to make a motion to approve 21-417.
Thank you so much, Mr. Chairman. I have a motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you so much, Councilman Estes. It's been properly moved in second to approve item 21-417. Do we have any additional comments or questions as relates to this matter? Thank you. I don't see any. All those in favor of approving, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Item B is unanimously approved. Congratulations, Mr. Miller.
Thank you, congratulations. That's all I have, Madam Mayor.
Okay, thank you so much. We'll move on then to Recreation, Culture, and Tourism Committee, and you are the Vice Chair, Councilmember Davis.
Okay, at this time, we have no business tonight, Madam Mayor. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you so much. Technology Committee, chaired by Councilmember Mayor Pro Tem Terry Miller.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. We have no business at this time under the Technology Committee.
Thank you so much, sir. Transportation Committee, chaired by Councilmember Dr. LaShawn Burdanley.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. We have one item under transportation tonight. It is to adopt a resolution for the City of Douglasville to commit to funding 20% of the cost of the Fairburn Road Corridor Improvement Project. Ms. Williams.
Patrice Williams, Community Development Director, 6701 Church Street. We don't have anything new to add, but this basically addresses the abandoned portion of Fairburn Road. It capitalizes on the opportunity to create new and inviting entrance to the downtown corridor. The project is a complete streets project. We're looking at $1.2 million for preliminary engineering, and the city would be responsible for 20%, which comes to $253,181.51.
Okay, thank you. This is an item that we've discussed in our committee meeting last Thursday as well as our legislative meeting. And this is long overdue, so we're really excited about it. And the matching amount that the city will put is already reserved, is that correct? Yes, and then of course we have a SPLOST coming up that I hope that will pass. Are there any comments or questions?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Madam Chair. I know you had mentioned about those businesses that are in the access road area. Have we been able to reach out to them, city manager, or are we in the process of doing that to let them know the process or the progress of what's going on with the realignment on Fairburn Road?
Those businesses have been in contact with GDOT. I know Greg Roberts, he was in here at one point. I know Greg has also spoken with some of those businesses, so we are in contact with them. As of right now, they have no question. I think they're all very aware of the timeline and what's going on with the project.
Okay, and I think Councilman Burdanley requested some type of schematic, renderings or something to give to them.
Yeah, there are no concept drawings as if you all would imagine with detailed images. There are plans, but those would have to be downloaded, and it would take a couple days for us to get those printed out in order to hand those, to give those to you. But once we convert those to a PDF, we will be able to email them to you from a cut sheet, but there are no conceptual plans of the route as to, I think, what you all are thinking. That actually would have to be designed.
Okay.
So we wouldn't have an idea to even know what it's going to look like?
Not from if you're
From an
talking about
engineer?
like colored renderings and photographs, no, we won't have any of those. Those would have had to been produced, and those take a while to produce and to be able to generate. I see the Mayor Pro Tem is shaking his head, so he's aware. I couldn't give you a timeline, but it's not something that's turned around very quickly.
Right.
Madam Chair, could I ask a question?
Sure, absolutely.
I think the question that the mayor has posed is a question concerning the businesses like the Big Oak Package Store, the dry cleaners, the emissions, the upholstery, the used car lot. If I'm not mistaken, this portion of the funding does not apply to that area. It applies.
That is correct.
It applies from Hospital Drive north
Back
to
the other
Veterans
way.
Memorial. So that is a totally different part of an LCI that we're still working to get included, if I'm not mistaken. Is that correct?
You're correct.
Okay, just want to make sure that the pot of money we're talking about, where we're talking about spending it. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Only other comment I had, Madam Chair, is I
ma'am.
wanted to thank one of the local organizations, Tri-Mood Chapter of Omega Psi Phi, cleaned up Fairburn. They've been doing it for about 6 or 7 years, but they're, last weekend, they went and did litter control and left the bags at the top of I-20 where that sign is that says litter control pickup. So we appreciate them doing that work in the hot, in the heat on a Saturday.
Thank
So,
you, Madam Mayor.
You're welcome.
There aren't any other items under transportation.
All right, thank you so much. Thank you, Ms. Williams. Do we have any other business to come before? We didn't vote. I
Make a
apologize.
motion that
I'm
we
moving too
approve item.
fast.
Yes, I'm sorry. I make a motion that we approve item number 21-387.
Thank you. Thank you. Who seconded? Councilman Davis. It's been properly moved and second to approve item 21-387. We have to vote on it. All those, we have any questions or comments as relates to this item? All those in favor of approving item A, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. 21-387 is unanimously approved. Do we have any other business to come before council tonight from council members?
Yes, Madam Mayor, I'd like
Yes,
to just say thank you to Madam Mayor and to all of the council members that are here. I've spoken to each one of you on last week in regards to the signage to honor Apostle Henderson. And it is just so amazing that tonight the consensus was unanimously agreed upon to go ahead and design the honor street in his name in-house, which is awesome. Hey, John. And then also, Councilman Davis and I spoke about Doug Smith, so I am just very elated. Thank you so much for all of you agreeing to that. And for those that are in the audience, Elder and Minister Paris Camp, thank you so much for being in attendance to acknowledge the honor that will be given to Apostle Henderson. Thank you. No other
Very good.
comments? Yes,
Thank you
ma'am.
so much, Dr. Burdanley. Any other comments from council members? The only other thing that I would say is, of course, we know that staff works very, very hard, and especially the clerk's office, to get the information to us, but I would just like for us to try not to refresh again, because that was a valid concern. Councilmember Adams brought up, if we don't know the deadline, so you all know the deadlines to try. I think the city manager, you said by Wednesday, the staff is supposed to have everything for that Thursday and then the Monday coming, so we won't have things put on the agenda at the last minute.
We would just ask if you all would just confer with each other as you make the request of us. So we take the lead from you all. So we will follow suit.
Okay. So that means we brought it to you and you had to put it on there because we brought it at the last minute.
Yes, ma'am.
Well, okay. Well,
Very
did we
diplomatic way
know
of saying that.
I'm trying to get an understanding. So did we know the deadline?
Well, that deadline
So
is mainly for staff,
administration.
but we yield
Yeah.
to you all. If you all want to
Okay.
put something on the agenda, we try to make certain that we get it in time for you all to have at least 24 hours to review the agenda. But oftentimes, you all come before us. Ms. Stanley called me over the weekend about the sign, so we talked about this morning. So again, it's your agenda, Madam Mayor, and we yield to you all as to how you see fit. But of course, if you all make a request, we try to yield to that.
All right, well, I'll just say, we're not going to do the day of. Councilmember Byrd.
If I may, Madam Mayor,
Oh, yes, sir.
I'm going to take the hit for that refresh
Yeah.
myself. City manager and I have been discussing this with Councilwoman Miller for a couple of weeks now.
Yes, sir.
And tonight, I went up to ask,
If it
when
was-
we needed to make this decision. And
Right.
because of the cost change on August 30th, we couldn't do it at the next round because that would be after that date.
Yes, sir.
And so that's why it was sprung on you all. My apologies.
No problem. Accept it. Please forgive me. I'm not trying to be hard. I just want for us not to have confusion and try to do things in decency and order the best way that we can. I know Councilmember Byrd did reach out on Friday about Bishop Henderson and Mr. Smith, so that had given us ample time. So I'll just put on notice, if best we can, try not to have things come at the last minute, and so that the agenda will be what is presented and printed and what's advertised in the newspaper. Okay, so we'll move on. I'm still fussing. Okay.
It's
yes,
okay.
ma'am.
She's just being Mama Bear. It's okay, Madam Mayor. So I just wanted to clarify, that was not the Apostle Henderson item. That was the travel stuff.
Yes,
So
yours
we
was-
were in line. Thank
Yours
you for
was
taking
done
the
on
hit,
Friday.
Howard.
You had plenty of time. Yours was
Yes, ma'am.
72 hours.
Decency and order. Yes, ma'am. Just being Mama Bear. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Okay, we'll move on then. It's herding cats. Okay, updates from city staff. Do we have anything? Our city attorney, Mr. Dodson.
No business, Madam Mayor.
Thank you so much. Our staff attorney, Ms. Lynn Woodward.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. We just have one item, but it's an update of the IDI litigation. The Supreme Court declined to hear their appeal, so that case has closed, and it's still in favor of the city.
Woohoo! I know. The crowd goes wild. The police department, our Deputy Chief Sue Ann Shaw.
No business, Madam Mayor, thank you.
Great, it's good to see you. Our city manager, Ms. Marcia Hampton.
No business, Madam Mayor?
Thank you so much. Do we have any staff reports?
No, ma'am.
You don't have any staff reports?
No.
Okay. We will acknowledge Mr. Bill Osborne in the audience, who was our city manager for many, many years. Good to see you, Mr. Osborne. Yes, sir.
Madam Mayor,
Oh,
Madam
yes,
Mayor,
sir.
if I might say.
Yes, sir.
Is Mr. Osborne the one that actually coined that phrase, herding cat? Seems like I heard that several times early on, and he always did a great job. Thank you, Mr. Osborne.
It must have stuck in my head from when
Yes,
I was a
mine
city
too.
council member.
Mine too.
Okay. Yes,
Thank you.
sir.
Yeah. I want to say thank you to Mr. Osborne. Thank you, Mr. Osborne, for babysitting tonight.
He was wearing lots of hats. Very good. Comments from citizens and delegates. We'll open the floor now. Yes, ma'am. Please come forward and give us your name and address for the record. And you have 5 minutes to talk to us about anything germane to city or potential city business. So please give us your name and address for the record, and we'll have 5 minutes to hear from. Yes, ma'am.
My name is Cindy Welch.
Yes,
My
ma'am.
address is 3002 Concord Way, Douglasville, Georgia.
Mm-hmm.
And I know some of you heard me, I guess it was the meeting for Nicole Miller and Mark Adams that was here, and I was brought up about Concourse Parkway,
Yes, ma'am.
and I was wondering what's going on with that. You know, it needed to be mowed. People can't see coming out of Academy Sports driveway. And I sure don't want my grandsons involved in an accident there.
Yes,
And I went
ma'am.
over and checked it Saturday, and it's horrible. Even I can't see to pull out of there. And I don't know if it's city right-of-way, if it's some private property owner's right-of-way that needs to be cut, but it needs to be done.
Yes, ma'am. I don't have a personal report on that. I know we pass it on to staff, and I'm certain they are taking care of it, and city manager will give you an update after the meeting. She said she will. She'll give you an update after the meeting. Yes,
Thank
ma'am.
you.
You're welcome. Any other comments from citizens and delegates?
Madam Mayor, I have.
Yes, sir.
Do you mind, Madam Mayor?
Oh, Wednesday is, go ahead, Councilman Davis.
Yes, we want to let the public know our first concert series will start Wednesday, and they call the Wednesday Wind Down. And this year, And if the rain don't get us this Wednesday, we will have the Tina Turner and Prince tribute down at the Jessie Davis Park.
Okay,
So
so-
come early.
What time, Councilman
It
Davis?
starts at 7, but you need to get there a little earlier, probably about 5.
Okay, and do we bring our own seats, or how does all that work?
Jason will have seating for the council and tents, and everyone have to bring their seats.
Okay, and so the location is moved. We're making certain that everyone's exposed to different areas in the city. It was at O'Neill Plaza, then we went to Hunter Park, and now we're at Jessie Davis Park. But soon we'll have our own amphitheater, so we'll have to,
Yes,
we'll
ma'am.
have to rotate. Okay,
Thank you. That's all I got, Madam Mayor.
thank you. Mayor Pro Tem?
Yes, thank you, Madam Mayor. I had a question for staff. Mr. Osborne sitting out there made me think of this because it involves his street, and the fact that AECom is on our agenda tonight for Fairburn. Have we heard from them regarding a proposal for the Creekwood study?
We have, and it's currently on my desk for review. So prior to them coming and presenting it to you all, it's a lot of information, so, and it's coming with a heavy price tag. So
Okay.
I will have it to you probably next month.
We can always tell them to get out their very, very sharp pencils if we have to.
Yes, sir.
Oh, my
Thank you.
goodness. All right, any other comments from council members? Okay, and we don't have any other comments from citizens and delegates? Thank you, I don't see any. Then, without having any other business, this meeting is adjourned. Good evening.